need to install the Solana suite. So this is essentially a Solana command line tool that allows you to interact and play with the Solana blockchain. It also sets up a local validator so that you can actually test your contracts without deploying to the devnet or the mainnet. I'll provide this link in the references, and then you'll be able to follow this tutorial to actually install and set up Solana. I already have set it up, and if you want to follow the same versioning that will follow in the course, let me just show you the version that we have right now. So I'm working at Solana version 1.9.21, so you can practically use the same version if you want to use the exact same contracts that we'll be developing here. So this is the first dependency. The second is actually the Anchor framework, which allows you to create these smart contracts in a nicer way. Essentially, it's a tool set that makes it easier for developers to build these contracts and deploy them on Solana. If you've ever worked on Ethereum, you know that the frameworks like Hardhat and Truffle automatically create these IDLs that you can then take into the front end and use them. And similarly here, Anchor provides an easier way to create this IDL that you can directly interact with on the front end. Again, this is the link that I'll add in the description to actually install Anchor. But for now, let's just see the version that we have here. So I'm running Anchor version 0.24.2. So do make sure that you have these two installed as we try to set up our own contracts. Once we have these two set up, let's just try to create a new program or a workspace where we'll try to create our own contract. So what I'll do is I'll just open my VS Code. I am in my course directory, and then I'll create a new workspace using Anchor init staker. What this will do is that it initializes a new workspace named staker with all of the libraries that we need, and it essentially creates a really nice package with a basic setup that you can directly use to create smart contracts in Solana. So let's just wait for it to go through, and we'll come back once all of the installation has been done. So it's all done, and a new Git repository has been initialized, and what it did is that essentially it has a number of folders. You have the programs folder, which is where we'll essentially create our own Rust contract. You have the test folder where you'll be able to write your unit tests to actually test against your code, and eventually you'll be able to use, you'll be able to write your own JavaScript code to interact with the smart contracts inside the app or somewhere else, which you can then integrate in your front end. So let's just quickly go through the folder structure and try to understand what all it has. So in the programs folder, so the staker is essentially a workspace, and it is defined by two files. One is cargo.toml, which specifically says that all of the programs inside the workspace are part of it. And then there is an anchor.toml, which is essentially specifying a bunch of things. It's specifying a hash, and we'll come to what it is. It's specifying a URL, it's specifying a wallet, and a bunch of other things. And we'll go through that in a bit more detail later. But then it also initializes a program called staker, and this is like the first file that it defines. And again, it has like a toml file for that, and a bunch of other things. So a very quick overview. This is what ended up creating, but let's just move forward.